Morning all, this is Lee running through Angwin Park in the lovely South Downs with some sunshine today. Hooray! Long run today for my 50k or first 50k ultra training. 30k today, longest run ever. Big shout out to Hazel for introducing me to the awesome tea and trails, and a big shout to the dynamic duo that are Gary Thwaites and Eddie Sutton. You inspire, you inform, bring knowledge and confidence to me, my running and my life. So without further ado, I hand you over to the dynamic duo.
How many times would you reheat a cup of tea? I've remade a cup of tea, but I reheated it earlier and then I forgot about it, so it was still in the microwave. Do you go again?
Do you know what I've decided with that? Life's too short. When I had really small babies, I'd have drunk anything. Now, I start again. I say, Eddie, have some standards.
I started fresh.
Standards, yeah. Start afresh. If you haven't got time to make a fresh cup of tea, what the hell has the world come to?
I've had a wholesale change after the last visit to the scales. Oh, and some race pictures that I didn't enjoy looking back on. So Gary's back in boot camp. Hello and welcome to the Teen Trails podcast. Thanks, Lee. Longest run ever. Good luck for the 50k. He didn't actually say what the 50k is that he has entered, and thanks for spreading the word, Hazel. I got a bit emotional listening to Lee. Inspire, inform, and give knowledge and confidence. It was the confidence bit that I got a little bit of dust in my eye. Aww. I think that's wonderful. Yeah, if we inspire and give people confidence.
Maybe don't listen to too much.
Please keep those intros coming. Email them to hello@tntrails.com.
Sore legs, Gary. After we're doing the tick box today. Sore legs, yep. Slightly swollen ankles. Do you have a little slightly swollen ankles?
Yeah. Grumpy ankle.
Black toenails.
Lost a toenail.
Oh, great. Incredibly tight glutes.
Just incredible glutes.
Oh, just incredible. The sports masseuse got her towel over my glutes, and then she just seems to with her elbow as she's maintaining conversation, and she's like, oh, is that too much? We also have very, very sad hearts at Tea and Trails Towers as well with this episode. And so we'll go into it in a bit more deets in a little bit, but we're sending all our love to everybody that's been affected by the news of Ourea closing their doors, all those that work there. A lot of them were very dear friends, and all those that also were preparing for races, had put a lot of effort into races, money, time. We're feeling for everybody. And so we are just sending this episode out with lots of love and compassion. Thank you to our patrons who do keep us honest and for making us feel so loved. Join Patreon for a year and save 10% on your membership. And if you join the Legend tier or above, we'll send you a bubble hat too. Go to www.patreon.com/tntrails to find out more deets. Little drum roll, little excitement here. Vision of... Oh, that was more of a whip.
Beavering away.
You've not beavered away. You've been, you were like a sort of more like a warthog.
I've got another one simmering. Can't release the info just yet.
Stop. Oh my God.
What do I say?
Well, you did it. You did the work.
We have a new Patreon partner. Patrons can now enjoy not 5, not 10, but 15% off at uk.janji.com.
Oh, yeah, this is me. Sorry. I have wanted to try. I tried to get hold of their trail running tights before the Northern Traverse because I'd heard such amazing thing about their pockets. Putting dirty gel packets back into my bag really upsets me because I know in about half an hour I'm going to stick my hand in that sticky mess and it's not going to be enjoyable for anyone. So I was like, I want to get some pockets so that also I can, when you want easy access snacks. So for me, I'm looking at like a little bag of peanut M&Ms for that like little through the gate, quick, put your hand down, a little fridgen of chocolate. So, but I couldn't get my hands on them. Could not find them anywhere. So maybe there's a restock.
It's fate. It's a sign. 15% off and they'll be restocked. Thanks to X Miles, Precision Fuel and Hydration, Harrier Trail Running and Phoenix Light UK for sponsoring this week's show. X Miles is a family-owned, independent endurance sports retailer that provides nutritional goods, apparel and accessories to help athletes perform and recover at their best. X Miles offer a wide range of high-quality products from leading brands, and the team of nutrition experts, cyclists, runners and outdoor enthusiasts can provide expert advice and guidance to help you reach your goals. Whether you're a seasoned athlete or just getting started, X Miles is the perfect place to find everything you need to succeed. Fancy trying some new products? Well, you might want to check out the X Miles monthly nutrition box. New fuel every month. It's the easiest way to try fresh products and flavours at below normal prices. Nothing new for me this week. It was all aboard the Precision Fuel and Hydration train. Although my X Miles basket is full of, this is a Northern Traverse legacy, to be honest. It's the Fire Pot dehydrated meals.
I've never tried the fire pot ones.
Loads of carbs, loads of calories. Great.
Loads of carbs, loads of calories.
Listeners can get 10% store credit at www.xmiles.co.uk via the link in the show notes. And pop over to YouGoCo Projects if you would like an awesome Tea and Trails cap. Don't forget, patrons receive 20% off. Also, all you lovely listeners can enjoy 10% off with the code T10. And if you're looking for all the discount codes, head over to Patreon, teaandtrails.com, or check out the show notes where you will find our link tree. Also, stick around to the bitter end if you want to be in with a chance of winning a fabulous waterproof jacket from Harrier Trail Running.
I just wore my lighter waterproof jacket because as I came back from the school run, I could see like the dark clouds coming over the hill. So I was like, I see ya. I'm going to be ahead of the game. I'm going to pop this jacket on, and because I know in about 15 minutes it's going to start raining. Did it? No. It was so warm. You won't get this, Gary, but I washed because I looked at my face before I did the school run, and I looked like in what's the film where she ages backwards? Well, let's just use Benjamin Button as an. I looked in the mirror. I was like, "Oh my god, I cannot! If we break down and anyone sees me." So I washed my face before I went and put moisturiser on, and then I used my Harrier jacket, and I just was dripping this moisturiser. I had gloves. It's that season, as we know, of overdressing for every run because it looks horrible. It looks horrible outside.
Is that why nobody reaches out and asks us to be their influencers online for their products? We're not the kind of vibe.
Like Benjamin Button. Oh, we've got so much to talk about. I don't even really want to, Gary.
Well, it's a big shift in our schedule, and I appreciate everybody who reached out over the few days before the weekend, and everybody I saw at the Punk Panther Welcome Way Ultra on Saturday who give me a bit of Tea and Trails love about what's happened with Ourea Events. Big changes in the UK trail running scene. I feel a little uncomfortable being a social commentator on this subject. It's so sensitive for everyone involved, and I can't really, somebody will call us out, but I can't really think of a situation where we have relied on clickbait content to connect with our audience. It's something
Eddie Pukes mile.
Well, yeah, we might clickbait ourselves, but we never jump on a UTMB bandwagon or anything like that. We've typically stayed away from that, but yeah, I stand to be corrected if you do want to call me out.
We always tell our own story. It's our own story, and I have listened to a lot of podcasts about what's happened, and because I wanted to sort of get the vibe and hear what people are thinking. As with all things, nobody knows what's going on behind the scenes, so all we can talk about is our own experiences, how we feel, and talk with compassion and love, because that is what our podcast has always been built on, is being kind, and our community has always been kind. But
yeah, we did have some skin in the game, so I think it would have been weird if we completely swerved the subject. And for what it's worth, my take is it is a desperately sad situation for everybody involved. I don't actually know what's going on at Ourea Events, what ceasing trading actually means. People, this is where I need to I'm tapering my emotions with everything that's going on, because there's probably people over at Ourea Events who don't have jobs anymore, or maybe don't know what the future is as far as their jobs anymore. So that I feel that is a lot more serious than my race not going ahead. And we do have a relationship with Ourea Events, but if anyone thinks we've got any insider knowledge, I think we heard probably about 20 minutes before the actual emails went out. I think I was on the phone to you, and my Thirsty Thursday WhatsApp group lit up. So that's literally the timeline as far as what we know. So yeah, we are as shell-shocked as everyone. Will it resurrect? I don't know. Will some races be taken over by another event company? Hopefully, maybe. I think this is what a lot of people might struggle with. If Ourea Events relaunch, say, under a new identity, who knows? And if I'm honest, yeah, I think the community will struggle with that, especially the people who have lost out financially. Would they trust their money again with Ourea Events or however it looks in the future? You paid your money, you bought your kit, you spent countless, like all of us, countless hours committed to whichever challenge you've entered. You're perfectly right, and I've seen a lot of people are raging online. They're your emotions, they're your feelings, you completely own them. I just feel for everybody involved. And I mean everyone from Shane and the team at Ourea to the countless people who won't be racing at what are some of the most iconic UK races. It's just a desperately sad situation. I don't think like the UK trail running scene is over. If you look at I pivoted to another race. I had a lovely day, Punk Panther on Saturday. It is very buoyant and very healthy. Maybe as an observation, I don't know the data behind this, there might be a skew in how people or the races that people are entering. Some races sell out and some don't, and I scratch my head why that is. So long-term health-wise, I'm not too sure, but yeah, there's so many. Like Hardmost 200. Spoiler, I entered the Hardmost 200.
Gary, had you entered by Friday evening?
I might have entered by Friday evening, yeah. I don't know. I entered by Friday evening. It's not a complete shift for me. I'll talk about it a bit later on, actually, but it's not a complete shift for me. But yeah, my point is there are lots of other races to do. They might not have the media team and the razzmatazz behind them that some of these other races do, but my goodness me, there's so much out there.
Yeah, well, I think my first thought was Shane messaged me and he started the message with Eddie, I'm utterly devastated. And I honestly thought that he was sending me a message to say that someone had died. Yeah. And so I didn't read on for a second. And anyone that's ever received a message that is deeply upsetting, and I just gasped and I was like, oh, he's going to tell me that somebody is. And then I read on and it was full of, just the most. I was like, why are you messaging? You don't need to message me. But I think that goes to show as well that we did have a very special relationship with the company. They've always been our biggest cheerleaders right from the beginning of our crazy niche little market podcast. You know, they've supported us at lots of races. They've banged the drum about the Tea and Trails podcast, and they ran our ultra for us. So, and lots of our friends, you know, they've become friends, the team. Yeah. You know, they've held me up in all sorts of, they've applied lube in all sorts of places. They've seen all sorts of things. You know, everybody that works for them, the media team, you know, it's such a big carnival, seems the wrong word. So I feel very, very sad for everybody that works there. And I'm absolutely sure that they did everything that they could. But I also really feel for the people, you know, we're in that camp. I lost money through race entries, accommodation. So I thought I'm going to come at this, you know, I had a lot of tears. There was a lot of, Jack Savaretti played over my runs of the weekend while I was weeping in the moors. So I let myself sit with that for a bit. You and I had a bit of a chat about it. And I also had a lot of athletes running various of the races as well. And that's had a huge knock-on effect of me and my business. And then the time I've spent preparing those athletes, and now we need to realign the whole season. So, but none of that matters. You know, at the end of the day, the sun rises, the sun sets, and it's our sort of endurance mindset that we turn to, which is why when I often say like running these ultras, it's not just about running these ultras. What it teaches us in life is like that resilience and that things have not gone the way. What do you mean things are not going the way we planned? Well, this is exactly what happens at mile 83 of a 200-mile race. Everything has changed. The rug is pulled from under you. What are you going to do now? What is your character going to show now? What are your values that you're going to pull on? And so I've sort of really pulled on that, and I've thought about, I was so looking forward to it. It was such a good women's field, and I felt like I was coming into shape I've not had for such a long time. We all know, oh my God, I'm so sorry everyone, you know, I've worked so hard on my health over the last 6 months, and this Northern Traverse has been like that anchor there of like, and so it's been so good for me to have that like constantly. I've spent a lot of money, I've spent hours, and I've really worked hard at getting myself back into good shape, both the training and everything else. So I feel like it's given us more than we could pay money for, getting up through the winter, pushing a bit harder up that hill.
Might not have been on the same trails, but I would have done all of the same things, definitely.
Yeah. It shapes our everyday, and it shapes how we've behaved over the last few months. It's given us, you know, such a focus. You know, I do feel cheated frustrated that we don't get to do the race, but also we get to do the race. And what's going on in the world as well, when I sit there and I think, God, we get to do that race. We are so lucky to be in this position, to be complaining. I'm really disappointed, and I think that's fine to say. So yeah, huge. I felt real disappointment. And then that was Friday, wasn't it, over the weekend? And then, I was picking nits out of the kids' hair at 9:00 at night. The real world comes back. Yeah. Life moves on. And so I've really tried to find the light. I don't expect people to find it like today, work through all the emotions and feel all those emotions. Absolutely. And I keep feeling them, and I keep thinking, oh yeah, okay, I'm fine. And then I'm like, just sad as well. Sad again. Not will I ever get to do that course again, and with the women that were there that were going to do it as well. So yeah, if you were training for one of the races, feel for you. But training, as we always say, it's never lost. It's in the bank. Yeah. And I see lots of people. I've seen sort of a community being set up. People are still going to go and run some of the routes.
I've heard about this. Yeah,
some of the routes. Awesome. You very kindly piped up at me and said, Eddie, if you want to run, I was like, oh, no.
Well, I thought when you shared that, you were like, is she fishing? Is she wanting?
I'd ask you straight up. No, for me, it's the race. I was there. I'm a racer, Gary, and I would need that thread of Lucy Gossage ahead of me I would want that. And so in some ways, I don't really want to, I'm going to move on just like you to other things. So
from a business point of view, I'm not comparing my ex-business, it's not a business anymore, with Ourea Events, completely different beasts. But after COVID, my little model making company wasn't really doing well whatsoever, and it was hemorrhaging money, but it was hemorrhaging money slowly so I could kind of sustain it. I'm speculating, I don't know for one second if this is what's going on, but when a business is kind of functioning, you're trapped in it. It's a real strange situation. You become trapped. It's like a cage around you, and you're waking up every day trying to do your best. And there comes a point when I suppose that elastic can't be stretched anymore. The only way I got out of that business without having some unhappy customers were through tragedy. My dad passed away basically and left me with some money so I could basically pay people off that I'd committed to do work for. And I just thought I had to be out of this situation. So I was super fortunate I could do that. Yeah, he would have been aware of the financial situation, but I'm certain he was kind of fighting and spinning all the plates and trying everything to make it work. And then, there just comes a point when you just can't do it anymore. It does seem abrupt. It could just be the case where a supplier, a bill just won't give you any more grace, and it happens. And when you've got a lot of bills and they're coming in faster than the income, it can happen like instantly. I was like a two-man band. There was me and my wife and occasionally some subcontractors. So it did feel like a slow hemorrhaging of money. But when you've got this big kind of hungry beast, it can happen immediately. So, it's tragic.
So we're going to talk a little bit about what we're going to do, how we're going to pivot. Pivot! Yeah, but let's just rewind a bit last week. So, poor Gary. I had a pretty normal week, but you had two mega runs to do.
So I did my 5-hour run. It was broken up. I did half an hour Rex and 4.5 hours on my own. Needed a fight with somebody on my run. That was that got me up. Another dog jumping all over me and the owner in denial. It escalated quite. Yeah.
What? Oh, what did you say?
It was a lot of season. No, the dog actually didn't bite it. The dog put its mouth around my hand. It didn't bite down on me, but bearing in mind I've kind of got my hands up around my shoulders and face like in fear, and this dog is all over me and the guy's like just totally in denial. Anyway, so I'm running away looking at my heart rate thinking, why the hell is it like 140 beats a minute? I'm like shuffling along here, but anyway, that's a different story altogether. So yeah, I did that 5-hour run, and then as I got back I found out the news about Harrier Events. So I'm like, where do you go from this? But fortunately I had, with the Punk Panther event on the Saturday, I had a bit of trail running love just to kind of get embraced by the trail running community, and I think it was exactly what I needed, and it changed the dynamics of the race because before the race, it was a hard and fast. A 5.5 hour run is never easy, but the effort was easy. And then I kind of thought I had a free pass to be a bit loosey-goosey, just see how it goes. Yeah, so the race, that wasn't a race, but ended up with me tasting blood and a spoiler, 1 second gap photo finish. Absolutely incredible. So 3:30 alarm clock, long drive from the northeast. I didn't realise that. If I'd done a bit of intel, I would have got a little hotel or something down in Otley. Saw loads of listeners, which is always awesome. It was really funny on the way to the race brief. Someone, he commented that I had a Tea and Trails cap on. He didn't know I was actually Gary from the Tea and Trails podcast. That was quite funny. I nearly missed the start because I had a last minute poo stop in the toilet. And when I came out of the toilet, everybody had disappeared to the start. And it was like a 5-minute walk to the start. So when I left the village hall, nobody was there to be seen. Both ultras started together. So unless you asked somebody what race you were doing, you didn't know which race you were actually taking part of. So I started off nice and easy. Oh yeah, I've got to ask you this question. Is there a formula, Eddie? Do you know how much extra weight you carry, say in your hydration vest, then that's a percentage of increased effort? Have anybody worked this out?
Percentage of increased effort. I think like I can, and it's probably personal as well, depending on your strength. I think I can carry like up to 3 kg and it's fine. And then over that, I don't feel so much on my heart rate. So I wouldn't say it is just I can't run as fast. Just can't run as fast. After 4 kilograms, I reckon it's a minute per mile. Maybe that's a bit, maybe I'm over. Maybe we need to do a scientific experiment.
Yeah, that'd be really interesting because when I'm just out running recs or just local trails, as soon as I pop a hydration vest on with like a litre of water and a full race kit, I have no problem whatsoever getting my heart rate into the whatever zone.
Okay, that's interesting, yeah.
But I enjoyed chatting with people, maybe for about 2 hours. Then you had the biggest climb of the day, I think is correct, Otley Moor. And I noticed my heart rate had spiked around then. I just thought I'd try and catch up some runners ahead. No idea what race these people were doing. I ran with the first lady for a mile. I think her name was Irene. When I matched Irene's pace, it started to go 130, 135 beats a minute. So definitely increased the pace. And I felt okay with that. You know, we didn't really chat much, but we were keeping each other right because I think we were both new to the course and just following our GPX watches. You'll know this. If you do a race where it goes in and out of semi-residential areas, the nav is like rock hard. Just little twists and turns, alleyways.
Suddenly, up this alleyway, down Ben's Junction, over their garden fence.
Exactly.
Don't mind that. Through the cars.
So I decided to...
Morning, Suzanne.
Yeah, there was a bit of that. So I don't know what was going through my head, but for some reason I wanted to not run with Irene anymore. So I could either drop back or I could open up the taps and for Irene. So I decided to open up the taps a bit, and then I caught up a few of the runners, and eventually I caught up the 20-mile runners. So I had no idea who was doing what. And then you start to drop into Otley, and I saw this guy ahead who was moving faster than the rest of the pack. He had grey hair too. And so that was my spider senses were like tingling big time. And I was a bit gutted because I know what I'm like. And that, for me, signalled that last mile or two was definitely going to hurt. Anyway, when I saw the guy, I swigged all of my floor gel. I think I'd finished off all of my Kendall mint cake and just, buckled up for the ride. Caught him up. Yes, he was doing the same race as me. Then I made a move. I went past him. Nothing nuts. I just thought, let's see what he's got.
This is like sort of Steve Cram commentary here.
It's exactly like Steve Cram and Steve Ovett. So I went past him. Then he shouted out from behind me. I might have had maybe a 5-10 metre gap on him. He shouted out behind me like what my age category was. And for a split second, I was going to lie and tell him I was a V40.
No offence, I think he would know you were lying.
Well, I was a bit insulted that he's even asking the question, to be honest, because I always thought I could pull it off as a 40-year-old. But
you can.
Anyway, I couldn't bring myself to lie. And as soon as I told him I was a V50, that like lit a fire underneath him because he caught me up within a split second. And I could hear he had this... it was beeping away like if you ever ran with somebody who's got a GoPro, it's always beeping. I don't know if it was a GoPro or Insta, whatever it was.
In the hedge. That is so offensive. Was he talking to his GoPro as he was running next to you?
Yeah, well, this is it, because I could hear him chatting away ahead.
Oh my God.
So this is probably what motivated me into putting a shift in at the end. Initially, I was like, whatever. And then I had this memory of being bitterly disappointed. I did an Endurance Life Northumberland Coastal Trail Marathon, and I was running up the beach at Sea Houses, and there was somebody ahead of me, and I knew I could get them because Sea Houses, the beach there, well, it probably goes on for about 4 miles. It goes on forever. And I just thought to myself, no, he's earned that place. Just let him breeze in. Yeah, exactly. Your face.
So similar. Destroy them all.
Well, there was nobody behind me, so I wasn't running scared. I didn't really put up a fight, and I remember just crossing the line. I'm not too sure why. Maybe we were in the same age group or something. I don't know what it was that made me feel bitterly disappointed that I'd never actually put a challenge in. Maybe it was because he was filming it with his GoPro, and if I was second V50, I would have been immortalised on YouTube.
I would never, ever have let you get over that.
Anyway, I just thought I might not actually beat him, but he's going to have to bury himself to beat me.
It. I love these thoughts. Yeah.
So we yo-yoed. So I went past him. He went hurtling past me.
So no chat now. There's no chat now.
No chat, no. I think I did say, I think I kind of said, oh, good luck. Like, it's a bit of sandbagging the tone in it. Like, yeah, I'm not going to challenge you. And then that's when I had these thoughts about, I'd transported myself back to the sea houses.
I hope maybe my eye flashed into your head a little bit too, and you're like, Eddie would be so disappointed. When I tell this story that I let him go, she is going to judgy McJudgy all over Zoom.
Plus a bit of a flex.
Come on.
On a flat run, V50 males, I will back myself. So
yes,
I'm just putting it out there. So I hung on in. We were kind of pretty much shoulder to shoulder until I recognised the landmarks. There was an Asda, some other things. So I knew I'd walk past those buildings from the car park to the race registration. So I roughly knew what we had left. So I just, opened up the taps and put the foot down. I could hear him behind me, like his breathing, his feet banging off the floor. And I just, literally, my heart rate.
I looked at your heart rate.
It just immediately, it's just like straight up. We were just, it was quite a lot of effort. I think I slowly picked it up. We're in like that probably low threshold zone. And then I was completely like anaerobic. I've got to say, maybe 100 metres from the finish, I thought I'd paced it wrong because I just felt everything, the lactate and everything in the body.
Oh, the best feeling.
It was absolutely incredible. Yeah, just hung on for a second.
And then was he like, well done, mate?
Oh, yeah, totally fine. We sat and chatted. He's a bit of a celebrity. He's got a YouTube channel. So he was getting a lot of attention too. People were shouting us both out.
You two middle-aged men with all your...
Oh, he's very gracious in defeat. Yeah, we spent a bit of time catching up with each other. Yeah, I'd have loved it.
He got the best out of both of you rather than jogging it in.
Yeah.
Talking about what trainers
course record. Course record too. For V50s, anyway.
Yeah.
But it was an amazing day, well organised, lovely route, great community. Exactly, I mentioned before we started recording, that's exactly how my memories of going to Osmotherley, the very first hard moor race, that is how I visualise trail running. I think Rick, Mark and the team, they've got something really special going on there. And thanks to everyone who helped make it happen. Loads of TN Trails love as far as competitors and the checkpoints too. It was always awesome seeing the T-shirts and the snoods out on the trails. Yeah, big thank you to everybody who took the time to say hello, cheer me on as I shuffled on by. Loved it. I needed it big time after obviously the bad news. In the week.
I think you took it harder than me because just the way we are as well. Everyone knows we're different. The way we operate is different as well. The way we train is different as well. I think having my spine entry helped buffer the fallout. You had nothing. You were like, but I've done training for this specific race. Am I ever going to be able to utilize this? And I've only got this like time slot. Whereas like I've had a really good block and I know now I've pushed limits a little bit where I haven't before for a while. So I've sort of set myself up into quite a good place to go, I can turn, I've got something else. It's not even really on the horizon. It is. If you enter a spine race, it doesn't leave you forever because it's a horrible thing that just... Unless
I have an epiphany and the hard move is 200, it is a one and done. I do not visualize.
Okay, we'll just clip that out, please, production team, as I always hear on the podcast. Let's just clip that out. So, so I'm glad you had such a great day and you got a bit of a chance to show your road speed.
That was double split because I had a big week. That was the end of a 100-mile week. And
it was huge.
Day before, I'd done 5 hours. And then to be able to run strong right to the end,
incredible.
I felt pumped. That's what I thought.
You feel pumped. I mean, you've ruined yourself, but you were incredible.
And my back held up. Everything. There's no aches and pains. I think I've like rammed myself fit, which is.
I do hear that.
It's not great.
It's not advisable. I've got nothing exciting to add to your great race story of what I did. I just decided to honour myself, honour Ourea and the race, and finish my week as I had planned. So I finished another big week, just slightly down on the week before, which was mega, which had what I planned to do as well. I was like, oh, shall I just keep up that heart? And then I was like, Eddie, no. So I finished my little race. I finished with a long run on Sunday, getting up at 5. I could have turned over, Gary, and I could have gone, I'm not going to do it. But I was like, no, get up. I made some foolish virgin errors, though, in that the weather was like rainy, but I didn't think much of it as I left here. Ran with my full pack. I love running with my full pack because, as you said, it means you run much slow. I sort of stayed low while it was sort of dusk. And then I couldn't face going up to the bog city up in the moors. And then I thought, but I always gaslight myself as well, going, don't worry, you don't need to run up there. You could just run, because you can get your 20 miles done quicker if you run it like down in the lowlands. And I was like, oh, come on, the feet turned. And I was like, no, I'm going to do it. But the weather, it started snowing, Gary. It got cold. It crept into me without me really noticing. And I suddenly realized, oh my God, I'm absolutely freezing. But I got to the point where I was like, I can't stop up here. No viz, nothing. If I stop, I get literally my hands, what? I mean, how many times did listeners have we got ourselves in this peril? Alongside this, though, I decided to take Paul's advice and thought, right, I've got this block of time now with no race. I'm going to my long, easy runs with my pack, which I will still keep doing with my pack every week because, it's good. I am going to try and gut train. And I always tell myself I gut train, but really I don't push my gut. I just eat. So I go, that's gut training because I eat. So I decided to try 100 grams an hour. Actually, the hardest thing, and I think if you're going to try this, is the first hour, because you've got, especially if you're like me, you have your breakfast, you go out the door because you've got to get going. Then the first 20 minutes was like, oh my God, take the gel, Eddie. Don't want to. But I was like, come on, if you're going to do this, you've got to fuel that first hour.
One of Paul's theories was you ease into it.
You're not going to be able to, but you're not going to be able to if you're doing, so this was a 3-hour 15 run. Okay. I'm not going to be able to get 100 grams if I don't start from the top. Otherwise, I'm going to just fuel the 2 hours. And fueling 2 hours for 100 grams is relatively easy. It's like forcing it down in the I was like, I'm really quite full. So anyway, I went from 20 minutes, but I'm actually going to change my watch beeps every 20 minutes, eat, drink, really aggressive, eat, drink. Wish you could get your government like it was just a little bird.
Oh yeah, a little softer.
And with a little you're doing awesome. My God, girl, you look great. Check out those glutes. Now have a little sip of your drink. No, you need to sip your drink. I'm going to tell you one more time. Get that teat in your mouth. Anyway, I decided actually every 20 minutes was... because I'm just taking 2 gels to keep it super simple. And also you need to take gels. You can't eat solids for 100 grams an hour. I don't think you can. You can't absorb it. It's not going in your gut then. And the point is it's going in your gut. So 2 gels an hour. So I was like, actually, I prefer to take it on the half an hour than every 20 minutes. So I did it. Oh my God, I felt like I was just shoving it down. I also had a bottle of Coke in the back because I was like, let's just top this up.
Yes.
I was 6:30, Gary, in the middle of nowhere, sleet all around. I was down in Coke. I was like, Dr. Dentist would be happy.
I'm loving it.
But I was loving it. I was like, everyone's still asleep at home. Everyone's still asleep in Scotland. And here I am. I'm probably not the only person in Scotland down in Coke, apart from its Iron Brew. So I was loving it. And did I feel I did feel quite full. Taking the last gel, as I was 5 miles from home, maybe even 4 miles from home, I was like, let's step this up. Did I feel any different? Hard to tell because I got so cold, Gary. So I got off the moor and got down into the gate where I knew I could change, but I couldn't undo the zip on my waterproof trousers because I was shaking so. Oh my God, Eddie, please. So message everybody, undo the zips on your jackets and your trousers so that if it gets to the point where you're really cold and you haven't put your stuff on before, then you can put them on, because I literally could not get my zip. My hands had lost it all feeling. So, but, I put my mittens on, and I think the biggest thing as well is if you do get really cold like that, but I knew if I carried on, I was going to go on the road. So if I carried on for 2 miles, I was going to very quickly lose 1,000 feet and it was going to be totally different weather system. So I just put mittens over my hands, because I think if you warm your hands up, then you can start doing everything else very quick. And I do believe, no science behind this, but if your hands are warm, it does sort of go to your core and your brain that you're warmer than you think you are. Normally, when I do these long runs as well, I never let myself take the easier route. I always go the harder route. But today I was like 5 miles up the hill, back up into that, no thanks. So that was my Northern Traverse grieving. I was like, you are allowed to go low, back through the village, back home. And then obviously the minute I got back down low, completely different weather system, warm.
Gorgeous.
Chogged that last gel.
Yeah.
So I managed probably over 100 grams because I had the Coke as well. Did I feel any different? I then had to quick shower and go straight to sport for the rest of the day. Eat my cereal out of Tupperware, the glamour. Did I feel any better? Probably. Felt fine yesterday. So I think that's the biggest thing. I felt much better the next day. And yes, that 100, I'm going to, like Paul said, 100 grams is definitely my like slight moment of like, whew, this is not pleasant. And I think that's what I said. So for the next month, the month of March, and then top it up with some Easter eggs in April, because I always say I do train my gut, but actually listening to Paul, I don't train it to feel uncomfortable. Once you get comfortable with your carbs, I think, even though when I do the spine or my next long race, I'm not going to take 100 grams of carbs at that intensity. But I think having the gut flexibility to be able to should really help me then take lower carbs as well.
I notice I feel hungry though if I don't take about that 100 grams of carb. Say over a 5-6 hour run, I start to feel, if I do the 60 and then maybe electrolyte drink.
It's not quite enough for you. So we got to work, it's also individual as well. We always complain about our guts. Do we really gut train? Do we really push? Let's see what happens if I do. And let's see if then, 70 can become the new 90. I don't want to push massive carbs. Like to me, it's like, it's not a pleasant thing, but also if it helps me recover, feel better in sessions, run more miles. So that I'm interested to see what happens. And I like the way he said it about just doing it in one session. Like just do it in that one session and don't worry about trying to do it with intensity. Like your intensity session should be just about that. Long run's such a good way to practice getting your carbs in as well.
Well, it's right, isn't it? You don't, if you want to train your speed, you don't do that session for every run. You do it one or two times a week.
So freaking fast.
I was super pleased though, because I was definitely that last probably half of the run, and then the effort went really high at the very end, taking on quite a lot of carbs, like 4 caffeine gels over 5.5 hours.
So was that 400 milligrams of
Yeah,
carb?
the precision hydration ones too. And I was drinking the precision drink, so I was getting everywhere was coming in with
Sleep
carbs.
that night, were you like wired? And when people met you, were they like, my God, Gary has not stopped talking, I had to just excuse myself. Oh my God, hi guys, yeah, talk, sure.
I think there is something that happens race day that you can't replicate on even the hardest training run. So yeah, it's still a mystery. Thanks Phoenix Light for sponsoring Brew the Coaches. The best design comes from the actual needs of users. Phoenix takes providing mobile lighting products with excellent performance as the goal and born for harsh environments as its mission. Never forget why you started and your mission can be accomplished. Whether you're on the trails in the witching hour trying to find where you left your car keys, in the dark, or out for your early morning dog jog, Phoenix has you covered. No head torches at the moment on the dog jog. It was incredible.
6 a.m. I reckon you're safe, everybody. From
5:50. I was out the door this morning.
Yeah.
It was great. These lights are ridiculously bright, built like tanks, and the batteries last for ages. I took my HM55R along for the ride on Saturday. It's super light, great for races that you do need a head torch for kit check, but you're probably not going to use it, or maybe you're not going to use it for long at all. Check them out at phoenixlight.co.uk, and don't forget patrons can enjoy 10% off, and all you lovely listeners can get 5% off with the code TNT5. All the discount codes are either in the description, Linktree, or Patreon. Got a question for our coaches? Just head over to tntrails.com and follow the link to the coaches contact form. And because of the way we record the show, we might not get to your question in time for your race, when your injury clears up, or whatever situation you are dealing with. But don't worry, we may still cover it in a future episode, especially if it's something other listeners might connect with. A few weeks ago, I was heading up a very scrambly mountain in Western Australia. Going up was fine, coming down not so much. I hit a wide, steep scree slope, loose rock rocks, half-fixed rocks, no real path, and every second step, something shifted under me. I ended up zigzagging all over the place, trying not to crawl down on all fours. 3 questions. My first question is, how do you actually pick a good line on that kind of terrain? How do you get down safely, keep some flow, and not feel like you're about to ski off the mountain on a pile of marbles? My second question is about knees. After that run, mine were not thrilled. I know I should speak to a qualified professional if anything feels persistent or worrying, but in general, what helps build stronger, more resilient knees for this kind of downhill work? And finally, training in the heat. Perth is warming up fast. Daytime temps are sitting around 32 and 38 degrees, and even at night it barely drops below 20. Every run feels like a heat training session, and even on easy days my heart rate shoots up. Do I just need to accept it and start running at 4 a.m? For context, I'm relatively young, about a year into consistent running, and I've just started adding swimming and cycling. I ran my first marathon a few months ago, and I'm signed up for the Five Valleys Ultra. Thanks, Leo Thaxton. Well, we've got a downhill specialist and somebody who's used to running in Australia too. Should we go to Russell first? Any help for Leo?
Hi, Leo. Yes. Okay. So only running a year and a marathon already and sign up for an ultra. So you're doing brilliant, doing way better than a lot of people already. So that's impressive progression. With the downhill terrain, that is a really interesting question because lots of it will happen just through practice, as annoying as that sounds. I often refer my athletes back to the phases of unconscious incompetence, conscious incompetence, conscious competence, and where you're trying to get to, which is
that is my whole degree. That was a whole module.
It.
Or just
really?
learning to drive is a kind of the easier thing as well.
Yeah, learning to drive is exactly it. Yeah, and you'll probably be starting off at unconscious incompetence, which is where most of us start from. So you don't know what you don't know. But as you start to practice more, you realize there are lines. There will be gradient and terrain that is going to give you better grip. It's not going to cause you to slip as much. And honestly, it's as boring as just getting out there on the terrain and practicing. And it does translate really well over terrain in, here in Snowdonia. I find that I can go anywhere and I can use the same skills that I've picked up here and bring them across to, the terrain in Australia, for instance. I've been to the Blue Mountains before. With the knees, that's a really interesting one because you can do, I would recommend single leg kettlebells as mine. I think Eddie might have different ideas about jumping on and off boxes, and that's all fine as well. But the really, really boring coach's answer is running downhill, like on manageable downhill. So grassy, less severe gradients. I used to deadlift really heavy weights. I used to be really, really strong in the gym, and my knees as a track athlete were never that good on descending work. It wasn't until I really bought into doing lots of descending that my knees got strong enough to handle it. So it's about load and getting your load right so that you're not doing so much that you smash your knees, but you're doing enough to elicit a response and adaptation. But if you look at fell runners, they've all got massive, is it vastus? What is it? Vastus medialis pecs? Yeah. They all look enormous on a fell runner, and it's from most of those guys are not in the gym. They're just running downhill a lot, and then they get really strong knees. So it's 3 questions to the heat. Yeah, get up. There's nothing really. Yeah,
that's
really
why. Isn't that what all the Australians do? They just put their vest tops on and they're up at.
Yeah,
3.
I was in Sydney for a year, and it got up to about 40 in the summer, and we got up at 4, and there's not really a lot of advantage of training at 38 degrees. There isn't much. You just can't move. I don't think there's much advantage to it because you're not even able to train, and your brain will often just shut everything down before your heart and lungs even get a chance, in my experience. But these guys might have more informed opinions. Okay, that's me anyway.
Are you laughing at them might have more informed opinions, Russell?
Yeah, as if. Come on.
Trish, were you a 5 a.m. clubber in Australia when you were...
Yeah, the running in the heat, I would say always work to effort and always try and work to effort. So don't focus too much on heart rate. effort really does have to be the way to kind of monitor it. But the reality is, like Russell said, once it gets too hot, the training benefits are reduced. So I would say focus on going to gyms and use the treadmill in the gym where there's air conditioning. And if you don't have that, then you just do have to start earlier. Like when I lived in Australia and in Cyprus, actually, I'd have to get up and leave at like 4 o'clock in the morning to do my long runs and get them in. And that's just the reality of, living in those places. With knees, I mean, everyone has their own way of improving knees. I live in a flat area, so I don't have, great capacity to run downhill lots. So what works really well for me are things like wall sits, band work and plyos. Those are the 3 things I would focus on from a gym perspective that you can do if you don't live in a hilly area. Yeah, everyone will have their own way of improving their knees. If you don't have that ability to run downhill in those kind of areas, that's the next best thing, really.
I think a lot of the pain from the knees as well comes from really tight IT bands from running downhill. It's like a crux. Is it crux 22? What's it called? I don't know. Catch 22. You run downhill, and then if you're a little bit nervous about descending as well, you're braking more, and then that causes the muscles to tighten up, and then you'll get the pain in your knees. It's not actually your knee joint, I don't think. I think it's everything that's really tight around it. So keeping everything loose, rolling your IT bands, your quads, if you can afford some massage, getting that, doing a little bit of mobility work as well. Yeah, bands, plyos, strength is your friend. And I get asked this all the time about descending, like, how do I get better at descending? It's sort of like most trail runners, there's the 10% that are naturally really good at downhill, and then there's the rest of us. And it is only practice. There is no magic formula that is going to make you better, apart from spending time, like choosing your long runs to be on, choosing a line you don't want to take. I often do that as well. And I'm like, there's a nice grassy bit, or you can come down that bit more tricky bit. Choose the trickier bit to just practice when you're not in a race. And I think a lot of people think that they need to go faster. It's all about faster. Whereas actually, I think when you're looking at descending, it's like be better. And that doesn't need to be faster. It just needs to be so you get to the bottom, not going, oh my God, I braked all the way down and now my quads are like in an ultra descending, like you're looking for conservation management of your quads. Unless you're a fell runner, it's a 10K, like anything over like really 50K, you're looking to come down that hill smooth. So what is it? Oh, I'm not good this morning. Fast is smooth, smooth is fast, or something the kids used to say.
Oh, is it slow is smooth, smooth is fast, or something?
That's it. So slow is smooth, smooth is fast. I think that's something that the kids used to say when they were skiing. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. It's like, I don't think telling your brain I need to go faster when you're descending. Faster means I'm a better descender. I think control and speed and working out what works for you, because everybody's brain works differently as well. So it's a bit like you can't say, people go, oh, look ahead, don't look at your feet. And if you tell someone who's quite nervous about descending that, then they're looking ahead and then they're going, but I don't know what's up my, like, just choose your line and just be smooth. Try not to brake. And if that means like, oh, I need to do more steps here, just try and be smooth and don't go, I need to be fast. That you'll get faster it's just like driving. Like when you learn to drive, you're not constantly going, I need to be at 60. Like all you're focusing is on how the hell do I get the car from second to third gear without stalling? So be smooth and work on your strength and get up at 4. That's all you need to do, Leo. And you'll be great.
Also, look out for snakes, Leo. Look out for snakes. Yeah, you don't want to be stepping on any brown snakes or anything out there. That's the more important thing. And I might see you at Five Valleys. If you're at Five Valleys, come say hi.
It is perfectly reasonable for him to have achy knees. He'd say, like in his final paragraph there, he's been running for about a year. So yeah, I think it probably is all quite natural.
My knees ache still.
My knees ache every day.
What I would say about the running downhill, the other element to it as well is people's balance and how confident they feel just going fast on that sort of terrain. And I think I would do some work on certain foot and ankle control, proprioception, calf strength. That increases your confidence, your balance, reduces impact on knees as well. So that was just the one thing I would add there, and do some jumping and landing. So we talked about Trish talked about plyo. So jumping, landing, single leg, hop in, all those sorts of things. So you have that strength and control around the foot and ankle, so that when you are going downhill, you've got that secure platform, as secure as it can be on skiing down a mountain of marbles, as he describes it.
I love that Bex comes on and just gives the wise words, as we've all just gone like, enough analogies. Good luck, Leo. Let us know how you go. And
see you at the Five Valleys.
Send Trish's love. See you at the Five Valleys.
thanks Harrier Trail Running for sponsoring our Strava Club and Tales from the Trails. Harrier is the UK's fastest growing brand for trail runners, providing specialist kit designed for superior fit, comfort and function with the best customer support. Check them out for race vests, waterproofs, poles and other trail essentials. If you're after waterproof trousers or waterproof jacket, you are in luck. The X-Moor 2.5 layer jacket and Dartmoor trousers are in stock. The X-Moor 2.5 layer jacket is Harrier's fastest selling jacket ever, and they will not be restocked until the autumn. When they're gone, they are gone. So if you're in the market for a waterproof jacket, then don't hang around. And at £94.99, it won't break the bank. Head over to harrietrunfree.co.uk and don't forget you can save 10% with the code TEASE10 or check out the brilliant trail bundles for up to 20% off. First up in this week's Strava Club is Jamie Allen. 71.7 miles per week, 17.8 mile long run and 3,904 feet of vert. Jamie's out in Australia. Loads of incredible pictures. We've got a WhatsApp group, and when someone goes on holiday, they spam with all these delicious pictures. Well, Jamie did take part in the 13 Valleys last year and came fourth. Got his little Strava description here. Why do I do this for fun? Started off feeling a little iffy and got behind on fueling and hydration quite early on, but I was moving well through the field for the first 100k and under course record pace too. On the way to Grasmere, things had turned and I thought I was pissing blood, so had to stay in the aid station until the medical team cleared me. Oh my goodness. Was 100% going to DNF if not for Darren Agnew and Hannah Cawthra getting me out there. Having to wait there for an hour or 40 minutes meant any sort of performance goals had evaporated, so just gritted it out miserably and painfully for 70k. Oh, God, I feel for you, Jamie. But did manage to claw back a couple of slots. Pleased with myself for not packing it in and getting to the finish when every fibre of my being wanted to stop. Also, thankful not to have rhabdo. Yeah, bad news about the run, but good news about the rhabdo. Bloody hell, Jamie, that sounds super, super tough. Next up is Chris Kelly, 75.1 miles for the week, 16.9 mile long run and 1,647 feet of vert.
No vert. He must be running.
Yeah, I'm really curious what Chris is training for. Smoking fast. Like 75 mile was just running over 100 miles covered in total for Chris. And all of that done in a total exercise volume for the week of 8 hours and 26 minutes training time. That is incredible. My 2 long runs were longer than Chris's whole week in terms of time on feet. He is rapid. Next up is Susan Naismith, 70.2 miles for the week with the longest run of 21.2 mile and 4,285 feet of vert. Susan run 21.2 miles supporting Team Davy. Susan's smoking fast too. Smashed out a time trial. 5 miles in just under 32 minutes. That's a 6:21 minute mile. And I would not want to be running into Otley.
She'd cook you.
Shoulder to shoulder.
She would.
Susan. Anyway, I did a bit of Googling to see what this Team Davy was, and I found a post from Helen Duncan on Just Given. This year, health permitting, we're attempting the D33 Ultra. 33-mile ultra from Aberdeen to Banchory and back. Simple concept, run there, then run back. I'll be pushing Davy in our assisted running wheelchair as he aims to complete his first ultra marathon, a dream he's had ever since we got the chariot. I may have suggested it flippantly once, he took it very seriously. Due to COVID coma, Davy suffered multiple strokes, which significantly affected his mobility, stamina and cognitive function. He has since been diagnosed with vascular dementia as a result of that brain injury. He spent 13 months hospitalised due to COVID and was the worst case in Mexico, where he was working at the time, that survived. He's no longer physically able to run, in fact, use any limb himself, which is why he's in a running wheelchair. The chair allows him to take part safely, to experience race day, the atmosphere, the camaraderie and still feel the speed of the wind in his hair, which is particularly impressive considering he's bald. He may not be able to power the miles with his legs anymore, but his spirit is very much still in the race. We just move a little differently now, and that's absolutely fine. Last year we had to pull out due to chest infection. This year we go again, supported by an incredible relay team of friends running alongside us, helping on the hills, keeping spirits high and politely turning their backs when I need a strategic bush stop. We're raising funds for Oxygen Works, an amazing charity that doesn't treat people people like clients, but like family. The support they provide genuinely changes lives. We're doing 33 miles. If we could raise £10 per mile, that would be incredible. Every pound makes a difference. If you can donate, thank you. If you can share, thank you. If you can cheer us on, we'll take that too. Let's make every mile count. Incredible support, that's Susan. Helen and Davey sound like legends. I wonder what is next for the pair. I will pop the Just Given link into the show notes if anybody would like to show some support. Got a couple of race results. Punk Panther, welcome way. 10-year anniversary and 100th event celebration. It was exactly what I wanted from an event. There was 4 races in total, so there was something for everyone. I think there was a 50 miler, which I didn't do. I did the 34 mile. I think it was a 20 miler and a half marathon. Really super generous cut-offs. I think because obviously the 50 miler would take quite a long time. So if you were doing, say, the half marathon or the 20 miler, you had loads of time to get back to Otley. Stephen Kirk cruised to victory, and he informed me he's going to be doing the Hard Moves 200 too. Smoke and fast. Nice 50-mile victory training run for Stephen. He's always in good shape. Thomas Beaumont came in second. Then Erin Darracott crossed the line in a time of 8 hours, 44 minutes and 7 seconds to complete the men's race. First lady was Annie Garside. Fantastic running, Annie. Rachel Omrod came second and first female V50. Then Bev Holmes completed the podium too. Head over to www.punkpanther.co.uk to check them out. We're now heading down south to the Centurion 100 Hills. I checked in with Twig from episode 197 and he completed the 50k after just 50k in training since January. That is incredible. Well done, Twig. But yeah, congratulations to Mark Derbyshire for winning the Centurion 100 Hills in a time of 3 hours, 49 minutes and 48 seconds. Mark has now won that race twice. Rye Webb stormed to second place, less than 4 minutes behind Mark, and Benjamin Hall completes the podium for the men. Not even 5 minutes between the top 3 men there. That is good running. Huge new women's course record set by Fee Pascal, storming over the line in 4 hours, 8 minutes and 11 seconds. Lynn Nichols came second, then closely followed by Nicola Glover. Over 400 finishes. Yeah, the pictures I saw on social media, it looked absolutely incredible. We dropped the ball last week, Eddie. All those mums out there, and we never wished one of them a wonderful Mother's Day.
Oh, just like my teenagers.
What did you do? We went out for afternoon tea. It was incredible.
Nothing. It wasn't even acknowledged.
Oi, oi,
That's
oi.
what happens when you have children who are only interested in spherical objects. I treated myself to 100 grams of carbs per hour.
Oh, what a treat. I'm trying to move on, Eddie. Let me move on.
It's awkward.
A belated happy Mother's Day. Hope you all had a sensational day. With your afternoon teas, do you prefer the classic tiered tray, or you get these now like a micro garden bench? Looks like a mini garden bench. And they put the cupcakes on the...
I love them both. To be honest, I just want a pot of tea that is endless and then a bit of cake. Let's not bother with the sandwiches and stuff. I can make that at home.
How much would you say? Afternoon tea, Mother's Day. What would you say was a fair price?
Oh, guess it depends where you are.
Yeah, we were in a bit of a bougie garden centre.
Oh, £15 per person? No, you're looking at more.
30 quid.
Per person?
Yeah.
Was it a lot of food?
We took some home, yeah. And it wasn't even incredible. It was nice, but it wasn't like the best produce ever. And as I was driving to the garden centre, you've lived in France. Basically, the cafes are better than the garden centres. Is that a thing overseas too?
No, France don't even do service stations. They wouldn't dream of it. They've got the boulangerie, their tobacco, and the restaurants where you get the plat du jour. Why would you need afternoon tea? You've had your plat du jour. You've had your 3 courses. Unless you're a 4-year-old child, you get a little gâteau. You wait till your dinner.
We absolutely smash a garden centre cafe in England.
We do.
It is incredible.
It's incredible, but they are expensive.
I don't mind though if it's decent produce. I'll take it.
I'll take it, as well as supporting local businesses, and I would have enjoyed that on Mother's Day had it been an option.
Special happy Mother's Day goes out to Jamie Whittaker, who is probably on the cross trainer or the bike getting the work done while she's nursing an injured foot. Wishing you a happy Mother's Day and a speedy recovery from Ruby, Luca and Grace. Tales from the trails.
Hi, Gary and Eddie. Tales from the trails. A bit of a backstory. Okay, I love a backstory. I'm a Scot living in Hong Kong, and I started trail running when I moved here 8 years ago. Hong Kong is the most beautiful place for trail running. I highly recommend a visit. We're on our way. 2 years ago, I took on the Hong Kong 4 Trails Ultra Challenge, a 298k run with over 14,500 meters of elevation, which takes place every Chinese New Year. It's a brilliant event. I survived in just under 64 hours, and it was an amazing experience. I even got a shout out on the podcast, which was very exciting. The latest edition just took place in February 2026, and rather than running it myself, I stopped watching it this year with my newborn twins. Oh, Lord, I bet you were dot watching all night. A bit different to previous years for me, but it was very special and great to dot watch during all the nighttime feeds. Anyway, I decided that my babies needed to be introduced to 4 Trails at an early age, so I wrote this story for them about it, inspired by all the Dr. Seuss bedtime stories I've been reading them. Oh, okay. This is a poem. A Tale of 4 Trails. It was the first day of the Lunar New Year. At a sign in Tunmen, a crowd gathered near. It was a curious crowd, nerves ramped up to the max, dressed in colourful lycra, shorts and race packs. It's some kind of running event, you'd be right to suppose. After all, they were at the start of the Maclehose. Everyone gathers here for a race called 4 Trails, and each year from this race there are many tales. It starts with the Maclehose Trail, which is 100 kilometres in all, then onto the Wilson Trail, which is 70 kilometres and tall. Over 8,000 metres of climbing in just those 2 trails alone, nearly the same as Everest, as some like to moan. But that is not all, no. Next is Hong Kong Trail to the peak, a further 50 kilometres of distance. It's not for the meek. Then it's a ferry to Lantau for the final test, the Lantau Trail. Some say it's the best. 300 kilometres total for these runners to do, over 14,500 metres of climbing too. 60 hours to finish, 72 hours to survive. Some will fail to continue, some will go on and thrive. To take on 4 Trails, you must be brave and strong, and not at all afraid of running distances that are long. Love the pod. Keep up with the great work. Best wishes, Alice. Alice, I do remember you from competing that race, and what happy news. You've had twins. I hope that's all going well, and I hope when you're ready, you can lace your trainers back up and be back on the trails very soon. We love your tales from the trails, heavy flexes and birthday shout-outs. Please keep them coming. Email hello@teaandtrails.com, and don't forget to put heavy flex, tales from the trails or birthday as the subject.
Thanks, Precision Fuel and Hydration, for bringing us home. Their website and newsletter are such a good source of knowledge, articles to read, and YouTube content to binge on too. On YouTube, you can learn how to fuel an ultramarathon, what pro runners carry on race day, and how to nail your marathon prep. Precision Fuel and Hydration's handy free online sweat test and nutrition planner will help you personalize your hydration and fueling strategy so you can perform at your best. Head over to www.precisionhydration.com. Don't forget, patrons get a whopping 20% off, but if you would like to try Precision Fuel and Hydration, then you are in luck. Use the code T2026 for 15% off your first purchase.
Like anybody that had signed up for any of the Ourea events this year, or perhaps even next year, is a sudden big shift into, right, what am I going to do? And lots of the races then that you might want to do might be sold out. They might not be what you've trained for. To suddenly have to pivot is really tricky. So it's a really tricky place for everybody to be in right now as well. Both disappointing, and then to also, as runners, we love being on the trails and being able to run is number one, but lots of us as well thrive from having the race as the structure and the race as the icing on the cake.
I thought that was a nice touch of John Steele. He opened up the 55 entries for people. Maybe, I suppose there would have been a lot of people who were doing the Moose Traverse. So very specific trails, so easily transferable over to that race. And I know some people who've actually entered too. So yeah, good shout out, John.
Awesome. Yeah, that's such a lovely thing to do. So how do you go about, well, in this situation, I would always say, don't be Gary, hold fire and don't, I've said this before, make no big decisions. When you have a massive life change, you're really tired, you're ill, do not make that purchase, do not do that entry, sit with it. And it's just like when you're younger and you see that pair of jeans in the shop and you're like, can't afford them, I've only got £15 in bank, but I really want them. If you really, really want them, then 4 or 5 days later, then you're meant to be. So I do think, don't make any big decisions just to fill that whole, allow yourself to think about it. But so we thought we'd talk about what you think about when you do enter a race, with sort of this bearing in mind, but also with a caveat that Gary has entered a race straight away, but he's you know.
In my defence.
Oh no, but I'm not trying to throw you under the bus, because you were obviously like, it's a different situation as well. So
but just in case people think Hardmoor's 200's come out of nowhere, when I was thinking about Northern Traverse, Hardmoor's 200 was very much on my radar too. But the challenges are very different in the respect that you need crew for the Hardmoor's 200. So I was very mindful that that would involve leaning on people to give up basically pretty much a day or maybe even a weekend. So that's what, similar with West Highland Way race, I always really think that would be a phenomenal challenge to do. But I'm basically asking somebody to come to Scotland with me for probably 3 days by the time I'm back in the northeast. So that is the only reason why I kind of shelved the Hardmoor's 200. So it wasn't a massive shift, and the timings turned out to be incredible.
You got to run.
Well, the dates are different.
No happy hiking for you.
Yeah. No 20.
We'll talk about that
pack.
in a bit. So if you are looking at race, one thing I always advise people to do is like make a big plan. So have a think about, and this might be too far for some people, but like sort of your 5-year, 3-year, 1-year plan. If you go, I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow, what I'm having for lunch, then just maybe go for the year and have a little look at where you want to peak during the year. And I was thinking about that when I was running this morning, and I was thinking it's almost, you don't need to look at the race so much. You need to count back like 4 weeks back and go, what does life look like then when I'm trying to do my peak weeks if it's a big race? Because that's when you need the support of like family. You don't need a big work deadline then. You don't need to be, handing in a major presentation, a big exam, or your partner having, kids having GCSEs or something in that peak weeks, because that's going to be the race. Like once you start tapering and you do the race, that can kind of fit in with life. But have a little bit, that would be a tip I would say. If you look at the race and you think, I can't do that, you need to do it. That's always my mantra as well. Like if you look at it and you think, I can't do that, then do it. Might not be you're going to do it this time, but maybe think, well, if I do these other races, if that's really what I want to do, I can't do it now. Yeah. Future me, if I build these steps in, I could do that. Never think I can't do that, because we can all do it. We might just need different steps to get there. Pick something you can train for. I mean, I get a lot of inquiries. I've entered UTMB and I live in, you can totally train for any race. You can make it work, but it won't be easy and perhaps not as enjoyable. So if you can pick a race in which you can get easily to recce the trails, or make a weekend to recce the trails, or you can train for it without having to spend all the time on the stepper. Obviously UTMB, like that's a bit of a different fish, isn't it? But pick something that 70% of your training is relatively easy to do. Maybe pick something that you can get a gang together to do, because that is where the joy is, especially if you get a race. So many races now offer different distances. So if you're not all wanting to do the same distance, but going with friends to do recce's and then doing the race as well is brilliant. And maybe also picking somewhere different, going to a different country, going to a different place in the UK, making it a little bit of a holiday. Make the race at the beginning, not the end of the holiday, because that's no fun for anybody. And I would say, especially after the news we had this week, choose a race in this country, support local races. Even if your A race is not a local race, maybe have a look at local races you can build up into in your long runs as well. If you've just lost a place in an Ourea event, yes, try and find something similar, but also you're probably fit as a fiddle. You could jump into anything. You could jump into any race. It doesn't necessarily have to match for match, though lots of people obviously do want, because they want that absolutely off your tits at 4 o'clock in the morning, stumbling around eating boiled noodles. I get that.
There's still places. I think there's 10 places left for the Hardmoor's 200.
But I wondered if there was, I sadly am occupied that week. Otherwise,
I think even the 110, for a brief moment, I flirted with the 110. I thought that would be such a lovely. Yeah.
Would you feel then that you'd slightly like taken that out of like,
I don't know. I never really
challenge yourself?
I was surprised. I didn't really mourn the loss of the Northern Traverse as a challenge. I was surprised like that. But like I said earlier, it was a one and done for me, this, and I'd poured so much into it. And yeah, you mentioned a good point, visualizing those hard weeks of training. I said, I've probably been crying for the past 2 weeks every time certain songs come on, if I'm in the middle of a long run or something. So I'm going to go right back into that. But yeah, there is some entries still available. For me, the air race, I like a bit of jeopardy, but I don't want it to be
so we're
so
a bit different
overwhelming.
There. Like I want to be totally overwhelmed. You're like, no.
Yeah.
And So we're all different. So
Yeah.
Also
the mix
build
has
up
to be
your-
just right. The mix for me just has to be just right.
You don't like waking up at 3 a.m. pondering your life
Cold
choices?
sweats.
Cold sweat.
If it's a training race, and I do quite a lot of training races, then it's all about the fun times. I'm not interested in jeopardy or being overly challenged. In fact, I think I prefer a race where I can kind of control the controllables better, because I'm normally trying to test out kit and nutrition, etc. like that. And you make a great point with do a race maybe where there's some friendship involved. A race, if I'm talking, say, for ultras, then yeah, the route, the challenge, it does have to excite me. It does have to mean something to me. I need to be able to buy into it. Whatever it is, I've got no connection to the Lake District, but with the 13 valleys, in and out of all those 13 valleys, it really symbolises you doing a full-on tour of the Lake District. It's got to give me an adventure. The community is always there. I think I've never ever done a trail race where I'd come away thinking that was a bit cold, that was a bit of a kind of cold experience, like sometimes you do on the road races. As much as some of these challenges look really seductive online, it really has to fit in with my life. I don't want to do a race that I can't fully commit to. And then I think I'd just suffer multiple times. I'd have guilt around like family, not being able to train properly, and then maybe a DNF or a DNS. So I just feel like a complete bruising endeavour. Some of them I struggle to visualise how I would fit it in. So yeah, the physical race, the challenge, the training, probably do all that if I'd wave goodbye to my loved ones for 6 months and commitments like that. And I can't do that. So yeah, that's...
I don't know where I was going there. Are you happy with the Hardmoors that there is a high percentage that you wouldn't finish it? How does that?
Well, that's the jeopardy. That's the jeopardy.
Can you live with that?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever DNF'd. Yeah, that's the challenge. The 60-hour cut-off, I'd always said with the Northern Traverse, if it started with the 5, I'd be super happy. So if it was 59 hours and 59 minutes, that would be a success for me.
Who's going to crew for you?
Yes, I've been really lucky. Robbo and Chris have volunteered for
I need
Friday.
to send Robbo some voice notes.
Then we've got Phil and Liam for Saturday.
Oh, the whole crew.
And Lisa, Aaron and Paul on
Oh my God.
Sunday.
How many people do you need in this entourage?
It's too much to ask somebody to be awake for 3 days.
I think it's much more exciting. Can Gary stay ahead of, does it have like a Black Reaper on the tracker?
Yeah. There's not many, I think it's 50 people. The entries limit is 50 people. And I think typically maybe half a dozen people finish. So it is a tough
You can do it.
challenge.
You can do it.
Yeah, I think I can do it.
Oh, I love that.
And again, for the same symbolism with the Northern Traverse, going from the west to the east and spending the time on the moors where I actually started trail running, it's all there still. Everything is there for me. That's where I kind of fell in love with the trails on the Yorkshire moors. So it just makes sense. You can see what happens if you win. I'm not going to win, but you get a massive sword. It's incredible.
Yeah, no, remember Laura winning. She got
That's right. Sword. Yeah. Oh, I should get Laura on for Hot Moves 200 special. March's competition comes courtesy of our friends at Harrier Trail Running. They've just launched their new waterproof jacket, and to mark the occasion, one lucky listener could bag an Exmoor Pro jacket worth £189.99. This is my go-to jacket at the moment. It came with me at the Welcome Way Ultra at the weekend. We're getting into spring and summer now. You need a waterproof jacket. If the forecast is kind and you need a waterproof jacket, then 100% this is coming with me on those races. And to be in with a chance of winning, pop over to Instagram, like this post and tag a friend in the comments. Also, you need a waterproof jacket for most races these days. So in the comments, mention what your A race is for 2026. Share the post to your stories and follow Teen Trails and Harrier_Trail_running Instagram accounts. This competition closes at midnight on the 31st of March 2026, and it's for Instagram only, and one lucky winner will be contacted by direct message.
Thanks for tuning in. We love you. Love you for listening. Share the episode, share the pod, share the love. Pop over to Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and subscribe, or even consider becoming a Patreon. Thanks to X-Mars, Pursuing Fuel Hydration, Phoenix Light UK, and Harrier Trail Running for sponsoring our show. Here are the discount codes: TNT5 for Phoenix, T2026 for Pursuing Fuel Hydration, and T10 for Harrier Trail Running. Thanks to our partners and Patreons. We couldn't do this without you and your ongoing support.
Good luck to everybody out on the trails. Hope you have a wonderful week. Good luck to also everybody who's torn the line at Hardmoors 55 and all the volunteers and organisers too. It's the last Harrier League fixture this weekend. So good luck to everyone heading to El Truman on Saturday. Champagne is on ice for Sedgefield promotion party.
They'll just be so grateful for you and all that you've done for them this season.
It'd be nice if I could score. That doesn't happen so often these days. And it's also the Harriers annual dinner on Saturday. So yeah, double Celebration.
You're going to be on the table. You and
No way.
Robbo.
Long run Sunday. Let the trail or tarmac rise to meet you and the wind always be on your back. Be kind to your future self. Breathe and believe. Keep your shield high. And if all else fails, chase the ball. My name is Gary Thwaites.
And I'm Eddie Sutton.
And that was the Tea and Trails podcast.